We're on for the first race, the no regrets handicap for the second day of the monsoon meeting after a quite successful first day of the monsoon season. Albert, quickly take us through the four runners that we have, which is Rimmel, Star Justice, Mandolin and DRD.
Thanks, Melissa. Yes, it was quite a start indeed. Number one, Rimmel, who's had a recent start where it was seen finishing on. It was in 7th spot, then came up with a run and finished on 3rd. Definitely runs with a big chance. Number two, Star Justice, who's also had a recent start behind Rimmel in that race, where Star Justice moved from 8th spot to 5th spot. It just missed the boat and finished on 5th. So definitely a horse with a run advantage. Mandolin, a horse which has been catching my eye quite often, has had a win or so in behind its name. Today the mount of Nikhil Naidu. Mandolin definitely always runs with a chance. And number 4, DRD. DRD hasn't really shown anything recently, so I would like to see how DRD runs, but it does have track fitness based on the track work.
So Albert, what would be your pick for the first race of the day?
I think Rimmel should be your frontline contender for this one, and I think the horse which can perhaps give Rimmel a run for its money will be Mandolin. Even the Mandolin is running first time in the season.
So we bring to you Albert's choices for the second race of the day, the Arcade Handicap, where now you've got another extra runner to choose from the first race. We have a field of 5 runners, that is Jawai, Ghost, Angel Light, Swift Lady and Jinsoku. So Albert, quickly take us through the 5 horses and then give us your pick for the Jackpot being the first leg. So what would be your picks and also your views on all the 5 runners?
Definitely, Melissa. Jawai definitely stands out of the pack because of the company it has run, and it has had a couple of wins already behind its name, and it is full sister to horse like Agnostic. So Jawai definitely on pedigree. The jockey booking Suraj Nehru comes, and just now we saw Suraj Nehru winning the Hyderabad Monsoon Derby. So Jawai definitely a top contender in this race. Ghost hasn't really done anything recently, but has a recent run behind its belt in this season. So fitness is behind Ghost. Angel Light, again a horse which has developed a sort of a bad habit where it gets left in the gates and comes up with a late run, but then the race is already over. Swift Lady is having its first start, had a bracket into its name in the winter season where it won, beating a horse like Jinsoku, which was its stablemate. And lastly, number 5, Jinsoku, who has had a recent start. Jinsoku was very strongly fancied on the day, opening event actually, but Jinsoku ran a forward race, then into the last 200 meters backed up for home and finished on, I think, last of 5 runners. So I think Jinsoku would perhaps need to show something before we start fancying it.
And what would be your top 2 or your Jackpot selection for the second race?
With the Jackpot, I've gone with number 1, Jawai, and I've just to be safe, I have kept horse number 3, Angel Light, as a backup. So those are my top 2, 1 and 3. But if you have a small budget, then you can go with Jawai as a banker.
For race number 3, Albert, the Eastern Star Handicap. So now you've got 5 runners in this race, and most of them have already had their starts on the first day as well. So what would you pick out of the 5 runners? What would your top 2 be?
I think again on breeding and the fact that Pyros has in fact summered in Bangalore, I think it gets the first vote. Horse like Tropical Lady, Extravagant Star, both had run in the season, so definitely fitness behind them, and as well as UV and Chetak. So I think it's quite an open race. I think in these small fields, if I can call this an open race, I think this will be it. So this is a very open event between these 5 runners.
So would you say Pyrgos would be your choice for the Jackpot selection?
I would go with Pyrgos, but I would also keep Extravagant Star as a backup because I wouldn't like to, because it's having its first start on the Calcutta Monsoon Track, and Monsoon Track is known to be a little tricky. So I don't want to go with a banker here. I would like to keep 2 horses in the Jackpot, 1 and 3.
Okay, so now Albert, the Argiano Cup, where you have horses like True Marshall, Hidden Gold, the outstation contender Forever Together. So give us your views on all the 5 runners and then give us your top picks for the Jackpot selection as well.
Number 1, Hidden Gold, which is the oldest among them, has had 5 wins to its name, but it was all in Western India. Since it has moved to Calcutta, it's been flattering, but it is not really delivering. So Hidden Gold carrying top weight, definitely the classiest among all the 5 of them. But I would like to see Hidden Gold run a race and maybe finish on board or 1 or 2, and then I would like to fancy it. It had a second in one of its starts where it finished on second to a horse like Monfortino, and Monfortino recently came in second. But Together has no recent form before it came down to Calcutta, so it will be hard to fancy forever Together. But Rajesh Naidu already had a double on opening day, so I wouldn't rule out his chances to continue the winning role. He just won the Deccan Derby. Number 3, Basharat. I think the distance might be a little short, but the trainers don't have much of an option, so they're going with whatever they're getting. But I think Basharat is more like a 1600 or maybe more, a longer trip horse. Number 4, True Marshall. Even though it's having its first start on the Calcutta track, it's well prepared and horse brings in a lot of form. It has a change of yard, change of ownership, change of trainer, and Akshay Kumar, who rode the winner for our last feature on Delphini, I think he gets the mount again. So True Marshall, even though it's having its first start, I would still give it my first vote. Number 5, Morningstar, a horse which has surprised a few of us. Morningstar won a race, placed, and has had very decent winter season. So Morningstar, even though it's having his first start, Vinay Jaswal is riding some awesome races. He doesn't get the credit that he deserves, but Vinay Jaswal on Morningstar, he knows the horse like the back of his hand. So it's probably the dark one in this race.
So your top 2 or your jackpot selections would be?
I would go with number 4, True Marshall, as a banker. And if you want me to give you another dark one, I would repeat that Morningstar would be a dark one in this. So 4, 5, but in the jackpot, I would only keep 4.
So the 5th race, Albert the Hokkaido Handicap. Now I'm going to change the way you're going to, tell us your selections. Now, out of the 6 runners, I think 5 or 4 of them have already had a start in the first day. So leaving out the 2, if you want, that have not had a start, give us your top 3 for the jackpot or your jackpot selections for this race.
I'll go with the race card order between the 3 that I have selected in this race. That's Gale. Gale had an outstanding start in race number 31, where it got the measure of money talk. Since then, it went on a start to finish in its next start, and definitely got caught up by Contribute and eventually finished on 3rd. So Gale is running after a long time and has a change of ownership as well as a yard. And Nikhil Naidu has ridden Gale, so that's an advantage for Gale. Number 4, Lion Queen won very impressively on day 1. I think I wouldn't rule out the chances of Lion Queen, even though it's running in a higher class. And lastly, number 5, Lord Lucifer. Lord Lucifer was racing in the wrong end of the field, in mid-bunch towards the rear of the field. But I saw the way it was moving, it had some fluency. It caught my eye, if I can say that. So these are my top 3. I think if you ask me for a jackpot selection, I would still go with 4 and 2, Gale. And just a fluke chance to number 5, Lord Lucifer.
The Mercury Handicap, Albert the 6th and the last race of the day. So now you have Good Tip, which obviously everybody is going to consider that a good tip for the jackpot as well as the winner for the race. But do you think there's anything that can be challenging Good Tip, even though after it was a very good run and a very good win for her on the first day? So do you think that there's another horse that can come and challenge Good Tip, or is it just going to be another easy win for her?
I have 2 answers to your questions. One, I have only selected Good Tip as a jackpot banker. And to your second part of your question, if anything can come and challenge, I think a horse which is a very deceptive horse, Indian Tiger. Indian Tiger goes to the front and it keeps on galloping. So if Good Tip does not wake up in time and does not really, because it's running after a week's time. So if she doesn't, I don't know how she's taken the race. If she's taken the race well and she runs after a quick backup, I think Good Tip will be hard to beat. But then Indian Tiger, because it goes to the front and makes the pace, and it's getting about a couple of kilos from Good Tip. So I think that could be an interesting angle, but I still think Good Tip might prevail.
Well, I think everybody would agree that Good Tip has been your best tip so far for all the races. So we wish Good Tip all the luck for her second run over here, and we wish all our viewers that you do get the jackpot on Albert's selections. And for those who want to place your bets, if you're not coming to the turf, you can place them on www.betindiaraces.com. And thank you, Albert, for the selections, and let's see how the races go. Thank you.